Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me today for our session on the top 10 Facebook Messenger marketing hacks of all time. We'll be talking about everything you ever needed to know about chatbot marketing. On the agenda today, we've produced all new content here. I'll be talking a lot, mostly about unicorns, actually, but we'll also be talking a little bit about chatbots. Specifically, we'll do an intro. We'll build some chatbots together. We'll talk about chat blasting. That's where it's kind of like an email blast, but you're sending chat messages to all your messenger contacts. I'm going to be giving you all my secrets on how to grow your contact list so that you have like millions of people on your distribution list. And also we'll be talking about this really cool new ad feature that I'm really excited about. It's Facebook Messenger ads. Just out of curiosity, is anyone here doing any like chat blasting on Messenger or any Facebook Messenger marketing at all? It's usually around 1% of people. Okay, so there's about 100 million Facebook pages in the world, and less than 300,000 of them are actually doing Facebook Messenger marketing. And I think that's crazy because this is an incredible opportunity. The engagement is really great, as we'll see, and we'll get to all that in just a moment. Before getting to all the details, just wanted to introduce myself briefly. My name is Larry Kim. I'm slightly obsessed with unicorns. I started. You might think that unicorns have kind of jumped the shark in 2018, but I've been talking about these things since like 2009, so I was kind of ahead of this curve here. Saw it from like 10 years coming. My claim to fame here is I started a company called WordStream in 2008 with literally nothing. Like it was just no co-founders. I was just working out of a Panera Bread. Like, hey, let's start a marketing agency with myself. It was ridiculous. Working out of Panera Bread because of the free rent, unlimited Diet Coke and free Wi-Fi at the time. They've limited it to like 30 minutes now. It's ridiculous. But the company was a huge success. It grew to about 350 people now, managing over $1 billion of ad spend for tens of thousands of customers worldwide. So we also moved out of the Panera Bread a few years ago. So that was a really spectacular journey for me. It was my first startup. I started like in my 20s, and it was really great to grow this thing from literally nothing to $55 million business this year. And actually, the business was actually acquired last month in July by a company called Gannett. It's the owner of USA Today for $150 million. So that was a pretty spectacular outcome for like starting with nothing. A couple people have actually asked me, because this is pretty fresh, it was just like in the last 60 days, what is it like to sell a business for $150 million? And honestly, it's kind of a relief because I spent the last decade like putting myself out there talking about how to grow your business and all these marketing hacks and this and that, and it would have been pretty embarrassing if it wasn't a success. You know what I mean? I would have to have been one of those people on the conference circuit talking about like how not to grow a business or avoid these failures. That would have been pretty ironic. It's been a busy year for me. I left my company WordStream to start a new business. It's honestly a lot harder work. I had like 350 people working for me before, and now I actually have to do all the work. It's hard. So the company's called Mobile Monkey. It's a Facebook Messenger marketing platform, which I hope you can try and use because I think it's awesome. I released the product actually in May of this year, and we have, it's pretty exciting 3 months. We have over 1.3 million users of the product already. Outside of work, I have a family. I'm married to Kaylee. She's a heart surgeon. If you need a pacemaker or an arrhythmia, just let me know. I'll hook you up. Just kidding. I have a 4-year-old kid and a a 2-month-old who's pretty brand new. And other than that, I'm restoring this haunted house in Harvard Square. It's like this 200-year-old house that was owned by like the Shaw family. It's like a famous like Civil War family. Anyways, all right, enough about me. Back to our story. We're talking about Facebook Messenger marketing and why should marketers care about Facebook Messenger marketing and chatbot marketing. Let me just give you 2 reasons to think about here. Okay, so number 1, there's more daily active users on messaging than on social media. Okay, more daily active users on messaging than social media. Yet less than 1% of businesses are actively engaging with customers through these popular messaging channels. And I think that's crazy because we all have, we're all posting on Facebook and all this nonsense, which is getting 0 engagement. But, where people are spending their time, none of us are using that channel. The other crazy thing is that there's over 1.3 billion daily active users on Messenger. So this is a pretty fantastic platform to reach the same people that you're reaching with your Facebook ads and the same people you're hoping to reach on your organic Facebook wall that you're not reaching. You can reach them on Messenger. The engagement numbers are through the roof. Typically what we're finding is that, if you're doing email marketing, which I'm sure you are, you'll typically get like 5 to 10% open rates, 0 to 1% click-through rates. If you're doing Facebook posting, it's typically 0 to 1% visibility. The Facebook Messenger chat blasts, which I'll show you how to do in just a moment, we're typically seeing 60 to 80% open rates, typically within the first 60 minutes. So, who thinks that's interesting here? Great, you're in the right room. So that's great. So I think the issue here is when I tell people how great Messenger is, they get it. They're like, okay, they're nodding. We can access these billions of people who are using Messenger every day. But I think where it falls apart is they don't really know what to do about it. It's like, oh, great, what now? How exactly are marketers supposed to take advantage of all this crazy Facebook Messenger and chatbot marketing stuff, right? And I think there's a lot of confusion over what specifically you're supposed to do. So for example, if you think about chatbots, a lot of people associate the chatbot technology with virtual assistants or voice search, such as Siri or Alexa or Google Home and that kind of nonsense. And they're like, that's not really what I'm interested in doing for my marketing. You know what I mean? It's kind of out there. Another thing is that there's a lot of confusion with chatbots as being some kind of a customer service tool. And it's definitely one of the things that chatbots can do. They can answer frequently asked questions. They can offload customer service stuff. But I think that's kind of boring. I don't think that's the most interesting usage for this technology. Further complicating stuff is when you talk about chatbots, there's all this confusing mumbo jumbo about artificial intelligence or machine learning, and I think it really intimidates a lot of people into like thinking like, oh, this seems a little too complicated for me. I don't want to deal with this. But the truth is, chatbots and Facebook Messenger marketing, I'm going to make it really simple for you guys. Just think of messaging as the next email. Okay, it's just like an email. So it's a push notification that you can send to your customers or your prospects, but it's going to actually be opened. So instead of like a 5% open rate, you'll get like an 80% open rate. And instead of a 1% click rate, you'll get a 20% click rate. But it's more engaging than email because you can make these things really interactive. So you can do things like surveys, and you can do like webinar registrations, but sending out push notifications 10 minutes before the event, so that you can double the attendance rate. And you can do all the stuff that you're doing with marketing automation, with email, like drip campaigns and all this stuff, you can do with chat. It's just like many times more effective. And so basically, it's my contention that I'm kind of a growth hacker, and I believe that sort of the holy grail of Facebook Messenger marketing is chat blasting, okay? And I think that this is the growth marketing hack of the foreseeable future for the next 3 to 5 years. You know how it is. You don't get married to a channel forever. Like, if you're trying to do Facebook ads in 2018, like, good luck. It's like, $120 CPMs. But if you were doing it 5 years ago, well, that's a totally different story. I'm telling you, this is where I'm investing all my time and energy because I think it's very hot. So let's talk a little bit about Facebook Messenger marketing and how it used to work. So in the olden days, everyone has a Facebook page, right? So the way that Facebook Messenger marketing would work was that you had some social media manager that was managing your page, and someone would click that blue button on your page that says send a message. Those messages would end up in your page inbox, right? That's that kind of dumping ground of emails that nobody ever read. And you'd be like, holy smokes, we got all these things from like 3 months ago. Right? Nobody ever goes in there. And so that social media manager, they would, once in a while, they would go into the inbox and they would read the stuff. And they could manually respond to stuff by typing like in the Facebook Business Manager, correct? Well, so about 2 years ago, that changed. So what changed was that Facebook Messenger released an API to their inbox, okay? Now, unfortunately, they didn't release any products for Messenger. It's not in Business Manager, okay? It's just an API for third-party tools developers like MobileMonkey. And so what we're able to do with this technology, with this API, which is a little too complicated for most marketers, is we can build products that can load your inbox, okay? And create an experience that looks a lot more like MailChimp. So with chatbot tools like MobileMonkey, HubSpot, others, you can import all those Facebook contacts, and you can blast everybody in your list. Your contact list is basically anyone who's ever messaged your page in the past, okay? And so let's walk you through this really quickly. So basically, in order to do a chat blast to your Messenger contacts, the first thing you need to do is you need content. Just like how, if you're doing an email blast in HubSpot, you need an email to send. And so there's like editing tools where you can add content like images or text and like that kind of stuff. Of course, if you're doing a chat blast, you need to specify an audience. So who the heck are we sending the blast to? So there's a way to segment your list, and then of course you then just hit the send button, and then all of a sudden your Facebook Messenger inbox feels more like a really high engagement email blaster than like a dumping ground of emails that nobody was reading before. And I think this is really interesting because it's push notifications. Okay, that's kind of a big difference, guys. So your content gets distributed to all your subscribers via push notifications, and the content you're creating is substantially more engaging than any email you could have done. Like, when you're sending email, it's always like no reply at, blah, blah, blah.com. Here, the expectation is that you're giving them a little bit of information, but they're intended to engage with that content directly in the chat interface. So I want to give you an example of this. I do a lot of chat blasting for my blog content twice a week. Actually, believe it or not, one of my subscribers is Neil Patel, who's also a growth marketer. And I know he reads all my stuff because I can see his little avatar at the bottom corner there. Okay? So some of you are probably thinking to yourself, is this spam? It's okay. It's a valid question. And so the data doesn't support that. So when you look at open rates and click-through rates of chat blasts, they're enormously more engaging than anything you would send out via email. And so if it's so spammy, like why the heck are like 7 or 80% of people, continuing to engage with this content? I'm going to share something personal here. These are my own personal campaign statistics from like a couple months ago, comparing my regular email blasts, which I'm pretty good at email marketing. I'm getting like 2 to 3 times higher open rates. It's like 20%. But that's like the best I can ever do. Like 20% open rate is like the highest, kind of the ceiling here. I'm like deleting old contacts. I'm like, A/B testing. I'm killing myself to get, 20% open rate and a 1% click rate. The chat blasts, I spend like 5 minutes on these things. Like they read like tweets. They're like 100 characters long, and they're getting like 60% open rates and 20% click rates. And so when you multiply them through, what you'll find is a typical chat blast is around 60 times more engaging than a typical email blast. Like in terms of like just if you could chat one email or one chat blast, you'll get 60 times more engagement. And so to the question, which was, is this spam? I don't think it is. I think it's very valuable. I think it's like that's the reason why people are engaging with this content is because they're finding it so useful. Fundamentally, I think that messaging is substantially less spammy than email for three reasons. Reason number one, you can't buy a list of subscribers. You know, I can just go to ZoomInfo and buy like, oh, I want like CMOs for Fortune 500 companies, and you know, for $50, I can get this list and spam them. You can't do that in messaging. You see what I'm saying? There's a rigid, like, I can only message people who've messaged my page first. You know, I can't just go to some truck and buy a list of messenger contacts. The other issue is unsubscribes are honored 100% of the time, not 50% of the time, not 10% of the time. Like sometimes when I click the unsubscribe button, I'm wondering like, are they actually going to unsubscribe me, or are they going to add me to 3 more lists because now I've kind of proven to them that this is like a live account? You know what I mean? The unsubscribes all go through a centralized source, and so that reduces the spam. It also makes it a little bit more nervous for the company sending out the content, knowing that you can't really add them back. It kind of forces better behavior on the part of advertisers. And of course, this content, as I was saying to you earlier, is more interactive, engaging than anything you could have sent out via email before, and people enjoy that, as evidenced by the 20% click rates, which is like 10 times better than email. So that's kind of the overall intro. If you're still with me, what I want to do is talk about a deeper dive in sort of the nuts and bolts of building these messenger bots and chatbot experiences. So I think I was kind of describing this earlier as chat marketing as sort of being a combination of an email blast, right, because it's a push notification. But it's also a little bit like a website marketing experience because you can make, unlike email, you can create these interactive experiences where you're like asking for their registration information, et cetera. And so the question is, how do you actually do this? And as I was mentioning before, you can either use the Facebook API, which is generally very complicated. They don't have any tools in Facebook Messenger, so you do have to use these third-party visual tools like MobileMonkey. And basically, it's very simple. You're just putting together content. There's a combination of static and dynamic content. So static content, that's going to be stuff like images or text or lists or galleries. It's just like a static content that you're going to send out to users, in Messenger. Okay, it shows up in their phone, triggers a push notification. There's a lot of static elements. A couple other ones that are very helpful. It's like adding video. You can send videos. You can send PDF files, attachments. Like gift certificates, etc. Why send them to a mobile landing page and then like shoot them some stupid email that's going to get stuck in a spam filter? Just send them the content via chat. Okay. In terms of dynamic elements for like collecting registration information, like emails and phone numbers and all that stuff. It's similar to HTML where you have these form elements. Like so, you can add quick questions where you can capture multiple choice questions or free text entry, or you can pre-populate different buttons. And basically, what that looks like here, it's a webinar registration form. You can ask and answer, ask questions to users and save the responses, just like how your website will ask questions and save those responses somewhere. Okay, so one of the cool things about this is known as user segmentation. So one of the really cool things about user segmentation is by asking these questions is that you can get a better understanding of who the person is in order to customize the chat experience. So for example, here I'm asking the user, are you an agency or an in-house advertiser? Why? So that I can save that information and send people down different chat funnels. So for example, if they're an agency, I'm going to send them down to like a, how many customers do you, or how many clients do you manage? If they're in-house, I can ask them about like, are you doing lead gen or e-commerce? The other thing you can do is you can create different audiences. So you could create one audience of advertisers and another audience of agencies, so that when you're doing your chat blasts, you could create different content. So this is like an agency blast. Hey, agency, are you looking to learn how to grow your agency business, with chat marketing? So this is an example. Because of the segmentation, it actually gets an 85% open rate, which is insane. Like 85% open rate or read rate, and this is possible when you do this kind of segmentation. Just one other note here is that chat is substantially more mobile friendly than like mobile web pages, if you're sending people to mobile web pages. Why? Because we can pre-fill answers with data such as like their address or their phone number or email address. You can pre-fill those buttons, and so if they just push that button, they'll release that information to you via chat. That's a lot easier than typing out forms on the mobile web. In terms of navigating your chatbot experience, there's two different ways that you can provide users to navigate through your chat experience. There's buttons, and then there's something called natural language processing. Okay, so a button-based chatbot navigational experience leverages buttons, hence the name. It's pretty obvious. It's kind of like a phone tree or a website where you say like, choose from one of the options below, or press 1 for service, press 2 for sales, that kind of nonsense. These are really easy to implement. It gives the user a very solid idea of what the capabilities of this chat experience is without having them to guess. Yeah, this is the one that I usually use because I just think it's very easy. A natural language processing-based chatbot navigation is a little bit more ambitious. Basically, you're not providing buttons. It's kind of very open-ended, like Siri or Alexa. They don't have buttons. You just ask them questions, and I think this is ideal if you're like trying to create something really significant, like a really like if you're trying to do a call center for your Comcast or something like that. This is an amazing user experience if it works, and a terrible user experience if it doesn't work. So usually it's like 99% of the time you go with buttons. If you want to know how to do this, it's very simple though. Like what you do is you tag your content. So all that chat content that you're creating, like that webinar registration page, you just add keywords to the content, like register for webinar or today's webinar. Like just add keywords to that content. And what happens is the chat engine will analyze the intent of what the user is asking. It will then try to find a match with the content and keywords that you've created, and will then, if that content exists, it'll serve the correct piece of content to that user. So I guess that's pretty easy. The challenge is like trying to anticipate like all the different crazy things that users will ask you. It's almost like creating your own little search engine. So one of the features that these platforms like MobileMonkey do is they keep a running record of all the questions that people are asking you to inform content generation. So like, someone's asking like, how do you know my name? So like, that's an actual question that someone is asking my chatbot. So what I can do is I can just answer the unanswered question by providing some content, tagging it, and the next time someone asks that, they'll be spooked out. It'll be like, they'll get an answer to that. In terms of the chat experience, all of this is running through your Facebook page messaging, right? So like in that little inbox, if you go to your Facebook inbox, you can see all the automated conversations that the bots are having with your customers. Right this moment, like hundreds of people are having like automated conversations with my business right now, and I can view the transcripts just by looking into the page inbox. If you want to jump in at any time, like you're like, I want to talk to this guy, you just go to the Facebook page and start typing as you would normally, and these bots typically will shut themselves up so that the user isn't talking to both a robot and a person. That's called a live operator takeover. Okay, so that's how you build this stuff. wanted to cover 2 advanced topics. One topic is how to chat blast like a master blaster, which is sort of like the kind of the this is the crown jewel of messenger marketing. So just a couple tips. Number 1, when you're doing these chat blasts, just include the unsubscribe information in text. You know, press stop or type stop to unsubscribe, and then that's how they remove themselves from your list. During that time, you can't blast them anymore. But if they contact you in the future, if they message your page in the future, they're resubscribed. Okay. The other thing that I do is I don't just copy and paste the email copy from MailChimp or HubSpot and dump it into Messenger. Usually what I do is I kind of concatenate it to 1 or 2 sentences at most, and then force them to engage. Hey, we got this crazy new hack. Do you want to know the secrets? And then I put a button that says show me the secrets. And then it just gives them a little bit more information, and you kind of string them along that way. I don't know why it works. It works. It's just, front load your drip campaigns. So you can do all this, marketing automation. After 5 minutes, send another email or send another chat blast. After 10 minutes, send another chat. We tried sequencing them out over 2 weeks and something like this, and it was just silly. Nobody remembers who they were messaging 2 weeks ago. So instead, what we do is we just use a Fibonacci sequence and just kind of really front load it so that all 10 autoresponders are within the first 2 days. All right. And of course, the number 1 hack to higher engagement is user segmentation. As I was talking earlier, you really need to ask those types of questions like, do you love unicorns or do you love donkeys? So that you don't send them donkeys if they love unicorns and vice versa. Segmenting your ways to higher engagement rates. There's an important rule that you need to know. It's a chat blasting rule that's imposed by Facebook. It's called the 24+1 rule. So what the 24+1 rule is that says is that Facebook requires that you describe the purpose of your chat blast. I know that sounds very philosophical. What's the purpose of your chat blast? But basically, there's 2 categories of purposes. There's promotional and non-promotional content. Okay, so a non-promotional chat blast could be like a shipping confirmation, or an event reminder, or a blog post, or that kind of information. A promotional chat blast is, this is the actual example from Facebook. They're saying, Super Monday deals, eat 1 beef burger, get another free, discount code BG5. That's a promotional content. And so you have to self-declare what the content is it promotional or not promotional? And they check. They use machine learning algorithms to look for certain keywords like sale and discount code, et cetera. So be honest, okay? So basically, you can send as much non-promotional content as you wish to your audience, provided that you have something called subscription messaging. Subscription messaging is a permission that you apply for in Business Manager. Just go into the Business Manager settings, go into Messenger platform, and then under Advanced Messaging Features, apply for subscription messaging permissions. This gives you permission to do non-promotional chat blasts to your subscribers. It usually takes about 24 hours to get approved. It's not very difficult. There are some restrictions as to how much promotional content that you can send to users. This is known as the 24+1 rule. In the first 24 hours, when a user initiates contact with your page, you can send unlimited promotional and non-promotional content to that user. Okay, unlimited unless they unsubscribe. If they say stop, then you're dead. Thereafter, after that first 24 hours, you're permitted to send unlimited non-promotional content, but you're limited to 1 additional promotional piece of content. So that's the 24+ rule, but there is a kind of a crazy loophole in this rule in that you can reincarnate sessions. So right, there's no limitation on non-promotional content. So I can ask non-promotional blast, do you like unicorns, yes or no? And regardless of which button that user presses, yes or no, they've re-engaged. So they're now a new user. So that 24-hour plus, resets itself, and I can send them, promotional content again. So There is one other crazy way to send promotional content, like in perpetuity, if you really, really want to just talk about Super Monday deals with beef burgers, like that's all you want to chat blast, and you don't want to talk about anything non-promotional. There's a new ad format in Facebook Messenger known as sponsored messages. This is a different ad format. It's not like the other Facebook ads you're used to that show up in a news feed. This shows up as a push notification through Messenger. And so what you can do is you can load your list, and then you could segment that list based on the Facebook ad targeting criteria. So you could say, like, of the people on my list, I only want to get the people in Boston who like HubSpot, okay? So you can narrow that list and then hit them with a promotional offer. It's not very expensive. It's like 2 or 3 cents per message at this point, but it is an auction. All right, so we're almost done today. We're talking about Chapter 4, growing your chat list. Hopefully you understand how to create these bot experiences, why it's important, how to do chat blasting, but it's all for naught unless you have a massive chat audience to blast this stuff to, right? So let's go over some of the hacks here. So in the olden days of marketing, we were setting up these landing pages to capture people's like phone numbers and emails so that we could like so we could send them emails, show up in their inbox, like, you know, every day kind of thing. That was kind of the old playbook. 5 to 7 years ago, Facebook was really popular, and we were trying to get people to like our page so that our page content would show up in their news feed. Well, today in 2018, the game's changed a little bit. They always make us jump around hoops and stuff like this. But basically, what we need to do here is get people to message our business page so that we can send them chat blasts. Okay, so how the heck do we get people to message our page? Because if you're just asking people to, hit that messaging button, like here's like, this is my own statistics. I have about 10,000 chat contacts personally. Now, keep in mind, if you think that's not a very impressive number, remember a chat contact is worth 60 emails, right? The engagement is like 60 times higher. So this is like almost like 600,000 equivalency in terms of email power. And I'm adding around 1,000 to 3,000 messenger contacts personally per month, and it's like really easy. It's like no effort at all. Like if I really worked hard on this, I could grow that harder. But the way that you don't do it is you don't just sit around and waiting for people to message your page, because nobody messages your page. It's like once in a blue moon, right? There's a couple little landmines and traps that you can lay out to kind of accelerate this process. I want to go through them with you. One of them is called a Facebook comment guard. Maybe you've seen these. It's basically an autoresponder. So what you can do is you can set autoresponders, Facebook comment guards, on your organic Facebook posts so that if someone drops a comment on the post, you message them back using a quick reply in Messenger. And if they then respond to that response, they're added as a contact. So that changes up the strategy a little bit. Basically, what my strategy is to find content that is comment bait, like stuff that people really, really want to comment on. So this is one I did earlier in the year, and it was something about like, goodbye Facebook newsfeed. It has Mark Zuckerberg in black. It looks like he's declaring something dead. And like 714 people commented on this thing, okay? It's because everyone has an opinion on this thing. So you find comment juicy stuff, attach autoresponders, and watch your subscription base grow. Another thing that you can do is you can change the nature of the content that you're publishing. So usually when you post stuff to your Facebook wall, it's usually announcements like, I have a new blog post or something like this. What I've started doing is I've started publishing questions. Like, this is a goofy example. It's like the battle of the English and the math. Like, one rabbit saw 6 elephants while going to the river. Every elephant saw 2 monkeys. How many elephants are going to the river? Like, everyone wants to, answer this stupid thing. It's got like 57 comments, okay? But basically what you do is you tell them, you say like, just make your guess in the comments, and I will privately send you the answer and the explanation via Messenger. You see what I'm saying? So we're kind of changing the nature of how our approach to the content that we're sending. It can be more conversational in nature. Similarly, like the old thing, like the holy grail of B2B marketing is that stupid ebook download, right? you could post, instead of like, here's a link to an ebook download, you could say like, we have a new ebook, drop a comment, and we'll send you the ebook in Messenger, right? Because you can send attachments. So how do you set up these comment guards? It's very simple. In MobileMonkey, you just choose the page, like choose the content that you want to send to that user. You set a frequency cap. That's like how many times do you want to send the user an autoresponder within a given day or two. And then you choose which posts to apply this to, whether you're applying it to all of your posts or just like a specific post. You can customize the responses based on the content. So that's one really crazy way that I've grown my contact list to 10,000. The other one is this send to messenger button. So send to messenger button, it's a one-click button that replaces conventional sign-up forms. So if you think about the difference between landing pages, like these things are like 25 years old, versus the send to messenger button, which one do you think is easier to fill out? It's like one click, and then you're obtaining all their user information, and they're opting into messaging, or you could have them fill out this stupid landing page, in which case you get their email, which is kind of useless because that has like a 5% delivery rate. So just kind of upgrading your landing pages to have the send to messenger button. How do you do this? It's just some JavaScript code that you insert into your landing pages. You just copy and paste it and replace the forms, and that's how that works. A third crazy hack to get a lot of messenger sessions is known as a is Facebook's website chat plugin. So what this does is it allows you to enable a live chat to your website customers, but in this chat, anyone who messages the website it's going through Messenger, so they're opting into messaging. So like even if they just say hello, you know who they are and you have chat permissions. So this is so much better than like stupid Drift or like all these other chat things, because like you can have a 30-minute session with these people and then just close the window and you're like, haha, they have no idea who I am. Well, it's really frustrating for marketers because you don't know who they are and you have no way of reconnecting with them. And so this is like a really fantastic replacement for those legacy chat platforms. Another one is adding a Facebook Messenger opt-in button to if you're asking people for form, why not also have them opt into messaging? It's this little checkbox. And so what I do is I just, where I ask for emails, I also ask them to optionally subscribe to Messenger. And lastly, there's another hack. It's to link to your chatbot. So like in all of my footers, in all of the emails that I send out, I do still send out emails. They just don't generate that great engagement. I always say like, hey, can we connect on Facebook Messenger? Here's a link. And that link will actually go to an opt-in form, okay? So you can try it yourself if you want to see what that looks like. Just go to bit.ly/FB-blaster, and you can see that experience for yourself. Guys, we're down to my last topic here. It has to do with Facebook Messenger ads. This is a pretty new technology. It's only been around for about a year. Basically, if you follow my stuff, you know I've historically been a really big fan of Facebook ads. I thought it was like the greatest thing in the world. 5 years ago, I was blogging about it nonstop. I was talking about this stuff. But then they jacked up the prices. And it's gotten a little ridiculous. When I started doing Facebook ads, it was like $1 CPMs. Now it's like $100, $120 is pretty typical. A lot of the hacks that I publish on how to do Facebook ads successfully involves lowering the CPM by like 50% by publishing high engagement content. Okay. But now, even if you get like a 50 or 60% discount off of $100 CPM, it's not really a deal anymore. So big news here. I've kind of kissed conventional Facebook ads goodbye. But there is this one thing that I do in Facebook ads, and it's the send to messenger ad. Okay, so unlike the typical Facebook ads where you click on the button, it goes to like a web page. This one sends people into a messenger experience, okay? When they click that button, you capture all of their contact information, and you get messaging permissions, like so they're opted into push notifications, and so you've basically converted a 2% converting button into a 100% converting button. So what I mean by this is, in the old way, you would have people, you pay per click, so $3, $4, $5 a click. This is pretty typical. They would go to the website, and maybe 2% of them would take you up on your offer. Here, I'm still paying for clicks, but it's through to Messenger, and so they're not going to a website where I lose 98% of them. And so I can capture everyone's information and do push notifications. This is really significantly better. It's like 50 times improvement. And it's the only advertising that I do for my new business. I'm able to generate contacts for $3 to $5. And previously I was paying $300 to $500 for those same contacts. And I think chat is worth more than email. Lastly, you might be thinking, like, isn't this similar to lead ads? Like, lead ads are kind of the same idea, where you push the button and you get their emails and phone numbers and all that kind of nonsense. Well, I think that Messenger ads offer some pretty compelling benefits over lead ads, because with Messenger ads, you can connect with these people right now. With lead ads, when they push that button, their contact information goes into a dumping ground, which, like, your sales team might look into, like, the next day. Here, you can configure the chatbot to kind of engage them immediately, and that really changes the response rates, like, significantly. And plus, they're opting into push notifications, which I think is so much more valuable. So in summary here, we talked a lot of tactical content here, like a really deep dive into the top 10 Facebook Messenger and chatbot marketing hacks of all time. Here they are. I won't read them all out, but it was some great stuff on growing your list, chat blasting, etc. Let's just wrap this up by talking a little bit about the significance. Did people take a photo of that? Sorry, that's my best slide. Robot unicorn. No unicorns were harmed in the creation of the slides. So what does it all mean? Basically, messenger marketing. I mean, this room it's not even a big room. It's like 240 people or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's new. Nobody's using this thing. Less than 400,000 pages out of 100 million pages are doing messenger marketing. Where the heck do you get this kind of opportunities from Facebook? It's crazy. It's a little complicated because of all the mumbo jumbo around AI, but actually it's not as complicated when you break it down. So the key takeaway number one: chatbots. It's a lot of things, but I want you to think of it as top of the funnel lead generation technology for doing chat blasting, marketing automation, lead qualification, and online advertising. That's what I view chatbots as. In terms of a secret marketing weapon, first mover advantage is really a killer. Like, if you're doing demand gen, like, can I let you in on a little secret here? I have like 15 million Twitter impressions on my Twitter every month. You know how I did this? I started in 2007, 2008. If you can get to these things early, these things just snowball. If you, like, sometimes people ask me today, like, oh, I want to be big on Twitter. I'm like, oh, good luck. You're just too late. It's the same thing with Medium. I'm the #8 ranked author on the planet, and it's just because I happened to start early. Same thing with LinkedIn. Like, posts on LinkedIn get millions of views, and you just have to start the stuff early. So nobody's doing chat marketing. It's really, really simple, really, really valuable. Do it today. I know that this is going to be a big deal, because if you want to travel to the future, just find a Chinese friend and ask him to demo you WeChat. Okay? They don't use Messenger. They don't use Facebook. There is no news feed. They use WeChat. They buy all their clothing, and they buy all their food, and they do all their interactions through chat. That's exactly what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years. People, there is a profound communication shift in terms of the preferences of how people prefer to receive their information. An entire generation is more accustomed to receiving their information through messaging than email. And in fact, people prefer messaging more people prefer messaging than social media and email combined. And this is a shift that has not happened for like 25 years since email overtook phone calls. So, your customers are on chat. Why the heck aren't you guys on chat? So that's my presentation. Thank you very much, Inbound. Please try this bot, Bitly Facebook Blaster. Thank you very much.